The CDP is an acronym to describe something that no one knows what that thing is, right?
Right.
Because no one's ever.
It's like Sasquatch.
Right.
We hear about it, but nobody's ever really seen it. What I want to say, I'm not going to say. Get these MFers out of your DMS yesterday.
Do whatever you can to help the dealer sell cars.
Right. Are you going to do, how's that going to do that to help train my AI and they can't answer that question? Don't buy it. You got the wrong provider. You got a guy who's using acronyms to sell you something, not to help your business.
The Retain and Gain Podcast. Retain and Gain. The Retain and Gain Podcast. Retain and Gain.
Hello, and welcome again, Auto Guys. It's time for another Retain and Gain. Here we are in beautiful downtown Waterloo, Iowa.
Well, actually, that was a major faux pas.
Oh, yeah?
It's Cedar Falls, Iowa.
Okay, my fault.
Should we start over? No, I'm just kidding.
Hell, I don't know where I'm at.
Well, you're in Iowa.
I don't know where I'm at half the time. Everybody knows that I don't even know where I'm at half the time.
Well, you're here, and I know where you're at. I know where we're at, so we're good to go.
Yeah.
What's going on? How you been?
I've been good, man. What's going on here in Iowa?
You know, the corn's growing. It's getting higher and hotter. Now, it's not hot compared to where you live in Houston.
No.
It's hot for us.
Yeah.
But on that, good. I mean, the car business is good.
Yeah.
The forecasts of doom and gloom are wrong.
Once again, wrong.
Right?
Again,
Which
wrong.
is the par for the course. But you know, a lot of interesting and captivating things that are going on though in the car space right now, especially on the marketing side. Yeah.
So let's talk about something we've been talking about for the past couple of days. Yeah. Let's stop marketing and start conversations.
Yeah.
You know, that seems, it's funny we brought that up because if you go back to 1999 and you look up the Clue Train Manifesto, the thing that starts online marketing or digital marketing, and there are three guys that wrote it. I'm trying to remember their names. One was a doctor guy, but Doc something. Anyway, it wasn't Doc Holliday, but he was a Doc guy, and you can look it up if you're watching or listening to podcasts. You can just look up Clue Train Manifesto. It's an interesting read. You should read it. It's still in the same format.
I have.
That it was.
I'll have to read it.
But the crux of it is that marketing is a conversation, and how the internet, because you can have conversations basically in the wild for everyone to participate in, will change marketing forever. Yeah. And I think they were right. They were way early, but they were 100% right about that. And what's funny is we got turned away. We took a detour about 2006 or 8 really more like about 2006. We started to make that detour because Google detoured us. We got away from conversations, and it was all about clicks. It was on we're marketing online. And we stopped.
Sterilized.
Right.
They sterilized the market.
Yeah. And and it's funny how you can look back now and see how we took that immediate turn. Back then, way back there in the Jim Ziegler, sales manager forum days when we were both there.
Yep, we were there.
Right. And I would talk about database marketing. We would both be talking about data
and the TO.
And we'd be talking about customers.
Yes.
And how we talk to customers rather than at customers.
Because we were both direct mail guys.
Yeah.
What do you do? What do you have to be in the mail business?
Got to have an address.
To mail to and an address.
Yeah.
Right?
Got to have a mailbox. Put that thing in. Right. So and back then it was all about, let's get to the customer. Let's, how can we own our customers in our market? And it was customer, get to the customer. And then it flipped right around 2006. Click, click, click. Let's get a click. Let's get the clicks. Let's get the clicks. Let's get the impressions. And amazing. I mean, it was almost like you think now. I don't think it was a completely left turn right, but I think it went like this over about a 2-year period. But it feels like it took a hard left, right?
I remember when Grant Cardone was with Elites back in the day, and his mantra was, give the customer everything, all the information, right? Well, that then kind of neutered the sales guy, right? Because if you got to give them all the information, you're taking away part of the shtick of the sales guy, right? To educate and build that what am I trying to, that rapport at the store. Right. And when it came to giving all the information, it's kind of, which I'm not opposed to, of course, but it devalued, I thought, the sales process and the sales guy, because they know everything. They know more than the sales guy. No, the customer never knew more than the sales.
He might have known more as much about the car. Exactly. Not about how to buy the car,
right, exactly,
but the car itself. Yeah, no question. Yeah, and I think that was a weird time. Well, not a weird time, but a time when you had Grant and others trying to figure out what the car business is going to be.
Well, the CRMs came into play.
Yeah, and the CRMs came in, and the idea was, well, if we threw up on everything, if we threw up on the customer, then they would have everything and they would come buy from us. And that didn't happen. And all of a sudden, they didn't come buy from you. Yeah. And then we tried digital retail, and then they still didn't come by from us. Correct. And then if you paid attention to Carvana, it was never about delivering the car. That was just the part. It was never even about the bad salesperson. It was about the bad salesperson who wouldn't give me the information. Right? If you gave them, but I wanted the information, and then I wanted to buy from a person that I like, know, and trust. Right. Those things didn't change. I just wanted the information, and I didn't want the Mexican hat dance around it. When I asked you what the price was, I wanted you to give me the price. When I asked you what the payment was, I wanted you to give me the payment. Be straight, be transparent, but I still wanted to buy from a person. I don't want to go. I don't want to go online. I damn sure don't want to spend. I saw some of those digital retailing tools. I don't want to go build the freaking car, spend 3 hours online. I don't want to take 3 hours online to build my own little deal.
No, right.
I didn't want to take 3 hours with a person in the store.
Why would I want to do it online?
Why the hell would I want to do it online? So you just gave me a way to suck at the process myself at home.
We talked about this the other day, and I think we talked about it a couple of podcasts back about the events. Right. And the events, if nothing else, it forced you to interact with all the people that showed up. Right.
And have fun.
And when they neutered that, then it became the age of the impression and the click, not the continuation of a person and their name. Right. I believe, and I contend that it was based off Google Analytics, because now you had something to show someone that you could never do before, of someone that engaged in an ad, right? Wow, that's someone's, right? You knew that.
But then we found out that 30% of them aren't even real, right. At least, at minimum.
So I think that detours, or the detours coming to an end, possibly. Yeah. And what is the interesting part is the conversation now
is back to the customers.
Back to the customer, but it's also having it with AI.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean,
not completely, but it's going to get there.
100%. Well, I mean, I think when the CDP is now coming around, and I think there's a real CDP's become this bastardized catch-all for anybody who's got some data.
It's the last thing that they haven't bought. Yeah. Right.
So, I'm going to put it for our listeners, and I want you to do the same thing, but I'm going to put a definition on a CDP, a hard definition. And I'm going to even go as far, because people expect me to tell you that this is exactly what a CDP is supposed to be. And if it's anything other than this, it's not a CDP. Technology. Right. So a CDP is all of the data. Right. And then when you say data, I don't just mean, right, exactly. I don't just mean the customer's name, email address, mobile number, address. That's customer data. And let me clue you in on something that you may not already know. Everybody has that. Anybody can get your customer's data tomorrow. What they don't have is the emails that customer
context.
sent, the context, the emails that customer sent to you. What they don't have is the calls that customers made to you, the visits they've made to your store, what they bought from your the transactions they've made into your parts department, into your service department, how many cars they bought from you. They don't have the context around their behavior, but they don't have the behavior on your website unless you give it to them. Right. And there's a lot of these guys out there right now that are taking it from you.
Yeah,
so the CDP is the place where all of this goes, right? All of the email, every inbound, outbound, every text, inbound, outbound, every call, inbound, outbound, all the transcripts, inbound, outbound, and all the summaries, inbound, outbound. It's all unified into that customer profile. And then that customer profile is taken and it uses AI to figure out how close to a buying process there is. There's uses for it there. And then, but when you get that CDP done, that is the place, Mr. Dealer, where everyone who wants to interact with your data goes to get the data. Get these what I want to say, I'm not going to say, get these MFers out of your DMS yesterday. Everybody, it is your DMS. They can go to your CDP and get the data, and then they can sign your data licensing agreement and get the data, so that way you know the important parts, the contextual data, the transactional data, and the behavioral data around your customers, right, stays with you. And when you stop doing business with that vendor, they have to stop using that data, and you turn that. They get an API to your CDP, and that's where they get it. I mean, all these things that go on that are sitting on your website. I mean, I don't know. I've done it now many times. Or and if you're out there, easy, it's free. Go get Ghostery.
Yeah, you'll be amazed.
You'll be amazed at what's running on your website, who's running on your website that you fired 3 years ago, and they're still sucking and siphoning off your data. Stop.
And why that's so important is if you believe, which most people do, that the number that you get every month of unique visitors is real. Well, they're usually big numbers.
Yeah.
So do you want someone siphoning off 10,000 unique visitors of what their names and so forth, or where they live, with a pixel that you don't know is still there?
That's not yours. I mean, it's got to that data.
You pay for that.
Yeah, 100. You pay for that person to show up on your website, right? So you got to get a pixel and resolve the IDs for your website, but it goes into your CDP and you control it. That's what's got to happen.
The CDP is an acronym to describe something that no one knows what that thing is, right? Because no one's ever.
It's like Sasquatch. Right. We hear about it, but nobody's ever really seen it.
And so, and I try to explain it. I try to think of it as a hub, right?
Yeah.
It's your hub, and you plug it in your spokes, right? And the spoke is a data source.
Yeah.
And it all comes in and it organizes it for you and puts it in a nice list.
Yeah.
And takes out the duplications. And that Sally is also, we'll use my name. Rob is also Robert, and it's also Robbie.
Yeah.
It's also Bob.
Yeah.
Instead of having 4 different records, I got one, right? So it unifies everything, so you can be organized and talking to people.
Right.
And in advertising and marketing, we talk about storytelling, right? Mm-hmm. Well, a story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Mm-hmm. And that CDP captures when you first engage with that customer.
It tells your story.
And tells the story of how they've engaged with your dealership. Right?
100%.
And if you know the story of your customer and how that brings the humanistic part back to the car deal. We talked about that too. Where's all the emotion gone? Well, there's not a lot of emotion when it comes to looking at a website. There's not a lot of emotion. Hey, build out but there's an emotion when I meet someone. They shake my hand.
Right.
And so that CDP, that customer data platform, houses all your stories.
Right.
And everyone's different.
What construes a story, what constructs a story, right?
Yeah, how they engage with you.
Right. And then that story is the conversation. Right. So you hear about these guys who've tried AI, if you
let me say one thing. It's not like we're doing anything different, right?
It's just not new.
A tool that allows you to do what you've always wanted.
Right.
You've always asked, why do we have 4 records for the same person?
Yeah.
Right. It just is organizing. And so technology is caught up with what everyone's always wanted. But it's still the same business. Don't let it.
The business hasn't changed. Just the tool. The technology is getting better to help you do the job better and help you understand how to do the job better. Right.
The problems are still the same. The technology or the gadgets we use to solve those problems have changed.
Right.
They've hopefully gotten better, or
they've evolved.
They've evolved. Right.
Right. No question. Yeah, no question. But that's what. But when you have all of that, you can have those conversations. And I think that's the problem is that you have these guys who expect if you're out there and you've had AI and you've had a bad experience with it, as many have, it's because it doesn't have the context that we just talked about.
Right.
It might have the customer's name, email address, and mobile number. That's great. But if it doesn't know anything about the customer, it's the same thing as if you walked up to your BDC and grabbed one of your BDC reps and just hand them a piece of paper with a name and email address and a mobile number on it and said, call this guy.
Okay.
And they just started dialing the phone. Have no idea what they're calling them about, whether or not they've called in recently, whether or not they've been on the floor recently. What were they looking at? It knows nothing. It just knows to call this guy. And that's what AI does. And then you get frustrated because it's not working. Well, I mean, AI is it is a person. It's artificial intelligence. It doesn't mean it's intelligent about your business. It just has some intelligence to be able to do something. Right. But you still have to train it like you train any other person. Yeah. Right. And in order to train that, what it needs is contextual data, transactional data, behavioral data,
and repetition.
Right. And so I think that's funny that and you see them on LinkedIn. We talk about the guys on LinkedIn who think you can just plug up AI to any data source and it'll just know what to do.
And it doesn't.
It won't.
Nor would you want it to.
Right. And nor would you want to plug up your data directly to an LLM anyway.
No,
that's crazy.
Nuts
right.
Stuff.
There's got to be something in between it. And so it's funny that, but it's not. But it's so predictable. That's just how. That always happens, right? You always get these guys who jump in and start talking all this, just start the talking heads, I call them, right, online, and they start talking about stuff they know nothing about. And you know why that is? It's because
the industry loves shiny new
objects, but they're none of if you go to most of these talking heads, they've not been in a dealership. They've never depended on their money coming from a car sale, or from a service sale. Mm-hmm. It's never happened for them that way. And so they talk.
So we've been around for a long time. So we've come in contact with a lot of people, gone to a lot of different events, seminars, conventions, and we've met the people in our industry, the vendor side, right?
Yeah.
Working with guys. I'm always amazed at the perception, or not the perception as much as the angle that some vendors take when they are engaging with the dealer. I've come from a family business. My old man taught us, hey, the dealer is what we serve.
Yeah,
without the dealer, you do not have a job, right?
Absolutely.
So we were always do whatever you can to help the dealer sell cars.
Right.
And then you come in contact with some tech guys, right? And their motivation is completely 100% the opposite. It's all about the tech and selling the tech, and not about the dealer's business.
Yeah. I've seen these guys. You've talked about it. I mean, the guy that starts his presentation, we're not car people, we're tech people. Okay, get the hell out of my dealership then. Right. Because I need car people.
I need car people that understand technology and understand how to model their technology that fits my business.
It's so silly to me that a dealer would actually listen to that presentation and then buy it.
And then the tech guys have to disassociate themselves with the business because I'm a tech guy, right?
Okay. Yeah. Well, if I can't apply your tech to my business, it's useless. So get the hell out of here.
And you're seeing that a lot. I mean, it's always been there, but as this stuff evolves, because it goes so quick. You were giving those stats the other day. How long did it take Ubiquity for the computer?
Oh, shit. Yeah, that's crazy stuff right there.
Right.
Yeah.
38 years. Yeah. And then the search in 23 years, and AI 6. So There's speed, there's velocity. Speed you can measure, velocity you can't. No one knows how
it's out of control.
it's out of control.
Right. Yeah. So let's getting into the conversation, right?
Yep.
I 100% have always agreed with this conversational thing, but the technology's not been there for us, right? Even with AIM back in the day, Mud Mail back in the day, right? We could get to segments of a few hundred to a few thousand people, right?
Whatever
and then,
our old book would have.
Yeah, and then or whatever you could segment the DMS data down to, whatever you could get to segments of a few hundred to a few thousand customers, and then you could greet them with their name, right, in a direct mail piece, right?
Yep.
And then
if
you were really fancy, we got to the point where we're using indigos and we're changing out images and changing out the things based on the customer data that we had, but we could never really greet that customer and talk about their dog.
No.
Right?
No, right.
Like
no.
personal, we could never personalize it to that level, although we'd always hear, well, get personal. You got to personalize it. But you didn't have the data available. Now you do in your CDP.
You do.
Yeah. Now you have the behavior, you have the format data, family, occupation, recreation, and motivation, animals, teams. It's there.
It's there.
Well, if you've got the right CDP, it's there. But it's there, and now it can use it in a conversational, and you use AI in a conversational way to start a conversation. Because I'm still of the opinion from 1983 to today that every sale, not just every car sale, every sale in a dealership starts with a conversation. You will not buy a part. You will not service a car. You will not buy a car until you started a conversation. Period.
And yes, I agree 100%. Where that conversation begins then is the trick, right?
Right.
Because, I default to the dealer. Everything should be the dealer. It's all about that guy, right?
Yeah.
And so
he's your customer.
He's the
guy. He's the guy writing the check.
He's writing a check. And so you want to know as much as you can know to help that guy improve his business. And so technology, to your point, now allows us to start it and end it, but keep the middle, right?
Right.
Meaning I understand what that middle means.
Right.
For not just today, but for 3 years down the road, right? That we can finally get to the lifetime value of a customer, right?
Yeah.
Because we've
talked about it for a really long time. Right.
And now we're there, right?
Now we're there. We're finally there. 25 years later, we're there. 25 years later, we took this, and that's the key to me, is that we took this turn in 2006 to 2008 off to internet land and clicks and impressions and bounce rates and all, and I'm not.
And it was a new science. Yeah. It was a captivating talk track that no one ever had before.
I don't want to trash it too much because I was right in the middle of it.
Yeah, right. We all were.
Yeah, I'm on the front lines of that.
And you had to be in order to come to the point where we are now, where you understand this ecosystem that's been created and the falsity that exists in it, right?
Right.
Because we got into clicks and impressions, and we got away from names and conversations.
We're naturally pessimistic as dealers, but we somehow embraced wholeheartedly that there was actual people behind those clicks.
Right.
That never even questioned it.
Right. Never.
And way should have. Yeah. Right. So, all of a sudden now we're finding out, well, there's really not. They're not all people.
They're not all people.
Right. And these impressions,
they're not.
It's edgy.
Because
it's fuzzy.
It's fuzzy math.
It's fuzzy math. Right. And so now.
But you know what isn't fuzzy math? Your home address.
Yeah, exactly. It's, what? It's there.
It's there.
It's physical. You can touch it.
Yep.
Right. Yep. An email address, a name, an email address, a phone number, a mobile number, and an address, and I can communicate with you. And I can start a conversation. And we got to get back to that. It's time.
So, innovation is about communication, right? Mm-hmm. Being able to communicate faster, further, quicker, more often with someone. Mm-hmm. I can move a message quicker, right? That's innovation.
Right.
And so technology comes along and can do that at light speed, warp speed. But
at scale.
And at scale. But where it gets scary is scale. That gets scary because if you don't understand the contextual value of what you're talking about, you're going to
have these funny conversations.
Well, it's like the bread story everybody tells. Why do you cut the ends off
the roast, right?
Yeah, right?
Exactly.
Because that's all they had. They had this pan this big. I don't want to digress, but the conversation was always about the person.
Right.
They moved that to the person, to a click, to an impression, and we saw those, and we imagined that there were people behind them. Back in, I probably shouldn't tell this story, but it's kind of funny. And maybe I've told it before. Back around 2008, 2009, I was out in LA with the guys from the NBC affiliate. And I was going to help them go into car stores. And this is how you talk to car guys, right? And we had an appointment with the Chevy store out in the valley somewhere. And I said, meet me there at 10:30. We'll have this appointment. We show up. Watch this is going to be great, guys. Go on in. We sit down with the general manager. He's greeted us, polite, sat down, and we started talking about, hey, we have an idea about using NBC's broadcast tool to drive people to your website. It wasn't unique thinking. It's what AutoTrader and Cars.com do all the time, right?
Right.
But the GM said to me, he said, we're the number one guy in our zone with unique visitors to our website. I said, oh, that's great. We get over 10,000 a month. I said, wow, that's great, big number. How many cars do you sell again? I said, about 150. I said, that's not a real good close ratio. What I was trying to say is that those 10,000 clicks or numbers can't be real.
Right.
Because if they are real and your realization number is 150, there's a big disconnect.
Yeah, there's something wrong.
And what he thought was wrong was me, because he shut his book. He said, get that out of my car dealership. And so we got him left. But the ridiculous number of 10,000 real people, and I
suppose
every month,
right?
Not just 1 month, every month,
right?
So I could never get my head around that math. It never made sense to me at all, because as we know, when we attended Jim Ziegler seminars, there's the TO from the prospect to the showroom floor to the salesperson to the box to this deal, right? And you couldn't have that conversation about an impression or a click. And it was a very hard conversation to have then with the general manager or dealer of why this isn't what the panacea that everybody thinks it is. It just can't be. Otherwise, you would be selling more cars.
Right. So you mean, and to drag that back to a conversation, you can't have a conversation with a click. No. You can't have a conversation with an impression. No. I can't have a conversation with a banner.
But you can in your head.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that was the problem.
These guys the dealers were seeing, they're having conversations in their head. And we bought it hook, line, and sinker. Just, in light speed. And it took our eye off, in my opinion, the ball. And I'm not saying I'm in the middle of it too. I came off the ball. The ball is the customers.
Right.
The CDP should have been, AIM data was a CDP. That should have continued on and became the CDP it should have.
1999, Orlando, Florida. It was the .com.
Yeah.
NAD.
Oh yeah.
Right? And those guys showed up and said, we're going to make the car business, automotive retail business, efficient, because it isn't efficient the way they do everything, right?
It's not any more efficient today.
No. But that was their goal, to change it.
Right.
And then it was bust and everything went bad. But they didn't give up, right?
No, hell no. Well, $8 billion in ad money keep you going.
And they did exactly what they wanted to do.
Oh, yeah.
And they didn't want to change it for efficiency. They wanted to change it so they could get their piece.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I recently sent a text to David Kane. I said, David, I just feel like we took radio, television, and newspaper, and instead of spending the money there, we spend it now on PPC, SEO, websites, and digital. And we just transferred the budget, but we didn't reduce the budget. We didn't get any more efficient. We didn't produce any better experience. We didn't sell any more cars. We just transferred the budget. And his answer back was to me, yes, that's exactly what we did. and so I'm going, well,
and you know how easy it was? This is how easy it was. The average commission for traditional media, 15%.
Right.
The average commission for digital, 25%.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a genius to work your pay plan.
Yeah.
And that money moved overnight.
Yeah. It seems that way. I know it didn't, but it seems that way today. Mm-hmm. And so now we're dragging ourselves back to conversations with people.
The other part about the internet was what it was going to resolve was the waste. Reach too far.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. We're now we're $703 a car. Yeah.
And where's the waste?
Right. And I feel a little bit like Doge right now.
And where's we're going to knock down walls. We're going to get rid of the silos. Well, there's more. How many dashboards?
There's more silos now than there were back then. Exactly. That's when you look at it. That was what the CDP should have fixed. Yep. Right. Yep. And it can fix now. I mean, doesn't mean we give up. It means we start now. We get the right CDP, and that fixes our silo problem.
And the CDP is just an acronym. It means customer data platform. That's it. Right. And so what does that mean? It means I got information on my customer. Right. Well, that can mean a lot of things. Right. Mm-hmm. So it's important when you're talking CDP with whoever you're talking about that CDP understands the car business, the process of the car business, because that unless it captures that, you're not going to capture the conversation. You're not going to capture the beginning. Mm-hmm. There's not going to be a middle.
You're going to miss the context.
Exactly.
You're going to miss the context. You're going to miss the transactions. You're going to miss the interactions. You're going to miss the behaviors.
And it's hard because you've got to be able to plug in so many different CRMs. Right?
Yeah, it's not easy.
The CDP, this brain, has to be able to work with a lot of different personalities, right? APIs, right? And you got to plug them in the right way, right order. Yeah. So it isn't the end all be all. It is an acronym, but what's it mean? It means it's trying to consolidate your information, Mr. Dealer, for you to make more sense of it and to be able to understand your customer better.
Right. So to drag this back
which we've always talked about, right?
Yeah, exactly. So to drag this back to the conversation is that now if you have the right CDP with the right contextual data, with the right transactional data, the right, and all of it. You can't just be missing some of it. That's the hard part about CRMs because it doesn't get everything. Is that if you have all of that, now AI can work for you. It can start a conversation. It's not going to sell the car, but it will start hundreds of thousands of conversations. And so now
you also have to get to defining AI, right? AI is AI. That's a big umbrella. Well, you're talking about AI and AI agents. And that means then you understand what you're trying to educate people on. So if someone comes in, hey, we got AI, okay, what's that mean, right? There's more to it than just, I got AI.
Yeah, there's always more to it.
Always.
But then, in true fashion, you'll go to NADA this year, and every other booth will have AI posted on it or stamped on it somewhere. Some of those guys, I think, took a Sharpie a couple of years back and wrote AI in the day of NADA. But you're going to see that around. But AI is only as good as the data it's trained on, and that's only as good as the data that's trained, and that's only as good as the data that's organized, and that's only as good as the data that's cleaned, and that's only as good as the data as that's collected. So it starts collection, clean, organize, train. Now AI can do something with it.
It's actionable.
It's actionable. And back in the day, we had this AIM data, and I still have it today. We still say it. I still get people that say it's. I think it's a law now. I think after 25 years, if you can't bust it, it's a law.
Is that kind of like common law wife?
Maybe
for 7 years?
It could be.
I shouldn't say that.
It could be easy, but data, information, activation, action. This doesn't. That framework does not. Can't be. I have not been able to break it yet. Data's useless. Information makes it helpful. Activation makes it start to be useful. Action turns it into money, right? Mm-hmm. And so if you don't have all of them, then you don't have AI. And so these guys that are trying to tell you, I push a button and it rearranges my email or my text message and makes it pretty to send to the customer, that's my AI. That's not AI. It's using AI to do what it's doing, but that's not AI. What AI is AI finds customers in your CDP to go start conversations with, and it doesn't wait on you to do it.
Well, and AI means artificial intelligence.
Right.
It
That's
doesn't
not
say what
intelligent.
intelligent cars, it doesn't, it just says artificial intelligence, right? For what? Well, I want to use it for car sales. Okay, well, you have to train this artificial intelligence to understand what you want to have done.
Right.
And that's called a process.
Yeah.
Right. And if you got the wrong process, it's
not
got
just
AI,
going to make the process for you.
No, it can't. It's
Right.
just like a kid. You got to train it. I used to, when I was doing seminars, I'd say, hey, how many of you out there have kids? And they'd raise their hand. How many times, if you tell your kid to make your bed once, does he get the job done? None. No one raised their hand, right? So it's a process of training.
Right.
Well, what's the process? 5 steps to the sale. Okay, that gets them to this. So there's a lot of acronyms and so forth out there about AI, but AI is about training something to do what you can't do or want to do quicker now.
Right. Or inconsistent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're coming to the end of this segment. I'm going to wrap this up this way, I think.
I hope it made sense.
I hope so, because I'm going to try to land the plane.
Yes.
Right? Is look, because at the end of the day, if you want to start conversations, not marketing, start a conversation, not an ad campaign. If you're that is the future. Whether you want to buy it or not, it's coming.
Yeah.
So if you're going to go down this route with the CDP, make sure that CDP is the central hub for all data. And I don't mean customer contact data. I mean customer contact, contextual, behavioral, transactional,
third-party leads, de-anonymized people, all
that stuff, right? So the CDP has all of the data. That's not enough. That CDP can also organize the data to help train your AI, because you're viewing this so that you can use AI. AI that magically turns a message into something that's pretty is not AI. It's using AI. It's using AI as a tool, but that's not what we want it for. What you want it for, and what we want it for, what dealers want it for, is to make us more money, to be more scalable, execute the strategy. So you want AI to be doing there's two things that AI can do in your store today, no matter all the pontificators and what they tell you it can do. Someday it will be able to do a lot. Today, what it can do is it can, with help, wake up and start working your customers like you expected your BDC to start prospecting, like you want your salespeople to prospect. It can prospect your customer base. What it can do today is it also can keep your salespeople on the path to the process. What it can do today is keep your managers on the path to the process. It can act as an assistant to bring the data to the manager to be able to keep the process going, as long as you know what the process is, right? It can bring the data to the salesperson to keep the process going and keep them moving towards that. So it can inspect what you expect so that you don't have to get what you tolerate.
Right.
So it can do that. It has that capability today. And it's built into, if you have it built into into the process, but it all is going to be driven off of a CDP, the right CDP that has all the contextual, behavioral, transactional, and interaction data along with the customer contact data. So it can do these are two things it can do in a store today. So when you're talking to a vendor about a CDP, when you're talking to a vendor about AI, whatever they're telling you, make sure, if they say they've got AI and they don't have a CDP, don't get it. Don't waste your time. If they have a CDP and the CDP is reliant on the CRM, that's where it gets all of its contextual data. Don't buy it, because it's not enough. If it's a CDP and they don't know how to organize the data, you can't tell me how are you going to organize this data to help train about my market, about my customers. How is that going to do that to help train my AI? And they can't answer that question. Don't buy it. You got the wrong provider. You got a guy who's using acronyms to sell you something, not to help your business. And that's what probably the most frustrating thing for me in this business over 25 years is I've watched more people come up with these things to sell a product instead of help a dealer with a business.
And that's what I started the conversation with. Our conversation about is that vendor in our business that's looking to sell something,
right?
Not looking
to help. Right. Solve a problem.
Solve a problem.
Solve a problem.
I was listening to a guy the other day. He says all the problems are the same. We just have different gadgets to solve them, which is true. Which is very, very true.
Right.
But that's a somewhat of a trite saying too.
It is. If you can't answer the question, what are the problems? You keep telling me all the problems are the same. Then you obviously know what the problems are. What are they?
I don't.
No, you asked the vendor. Yeah, I'd ask the guy. Whoever I'd ask whatever vendor said.
It was a parting comment.
Yeah, you told me who it was. We won't bring up his name on here. Pure Cars. But but if you can't tell me what the problems are, then it's just a saying. So let me help you out. Here are the problems. Number one, first and foremost, is I don't really know who's giving me the best leads for my money. Problem number one, way out here. I need to get my marketing in line that's giving me the best opportunities to sell something. And I need to get the ones who are giving me the worst opportunities to sell something out. And I need to free that budget up to go to more places.
And it's got to all be measured the same way, right? Which is a card.
That's first. So that data has to be normalized. It has to be prepped. It has to be staged. To make it right. Second problem I have, is my salespeople. There's not a good enough process to get the majority of my leads responded to it in less than 5 minutes. How do you solve that problem? How do you solve the problem of my data being normalized, organized, staged, prepped? How do you solve that problem? Then how do you solve my salesperson problem of response time? Then from there, when you do solve that, if you can solve those, how are you solving the problem of the thousands upon thousands of customers that I have sold in the past, the thousands upon thousands of customers that I service, that I sell parts to, who could buy cars, that we need to have conversations with? How do you solve that problem? How do we have those conversations? I mean conversations. I don't mean an e-blast to them. I mean, how do we have conversations with thousands of people at scale? How do you solve that problem?
You got to.
This is my problem.
And so and I'm not going to give the answer, but it gets down to segmentation. It gets down to understanding.
There's a lot of ways to get there. Yeah, there's a lot of ways it takes. There are a lot of things it takes to get there. But this is what I would for our audience. I'm telling you, these are the questions you need to ask vendors if you want to get the right guy. Ask them these questions, because we get lost in the cool shit. We get, that's a cool report. This guy's look at how this data looks when we unify it.
And that's why cost per unit delivered is $700, which is
it's stupid.
I don't know. How do you make money?
Yeah, that's crazy. But so ask these questions. If they can't answer the questions, and if you want to know more of the questions you should be asking, just email me, Larry@bdcbox.com. Happy to give you the questions. Email rob@mud.com. He's happy to give you questions.
1B, ROB, just
1B, yeah. And but at the end of the day, we'll give you the questions. But you got to. I think the biggest part of our industry is we don't know what questions to ask.
We don't know which. Here's another issue, I think. In telling stories, the way that it used to be done is that you would go through time, right? You became an elder, and then you'd pass down your knowledge and your wisdom.
Sure.
There aren't a lot of guys as old as us still in this game, right?
Yeah, they're dead.
They're dead. So when we bring this, what we're talking about isn't based off, hey, just got in car business. It's based off of 35 years of doing this stuff, right?
Right.
So our perspective is different than others.
Yeah.
It just is, because we've experienced more things.
Right.
We've seen more things, good things, bad things. But at the end of the day, the Mr. Dealer wants to sell more cars.
Yeah.
And there's a limited amount of people in the United States. There's like 350 million of them, right? And there's a limited amount of people within your radius of operation. Well, you need to know who those people are. You need to reach out and have them start
a conversation
and start doing the deal. Nothing's changed.
No.
That way.
No.
It's just all the tools that you have, and everybody wants to sell you a tool so that they can silo you out.
Right.
Right.
The tech guy, I want to sell you tech because I'm a tech guy. I'm not a car guy, I'm a tech guy. If somebody just wants to sell you tech because they're a tech guy, that's the last guy you need.
The last thing,
you need more tech, like you need a hole in the head.
ADD, another damn dashboard.
Exactly. It's so silly.
It is.
I mean, some of these dealers have, I don't know, 15 logins. I mean, it's crazy.
You know, this was all predicted. I've been talking about forever that this was going to.
Weren't we going to end this segment?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can keep going forever. So, guys, we're gonna land the plane. Land the plane. We may have just skimmed the runway, but hopefully we've given you some great information. The best thing, the compliment you could ever pay us is share the show with whoever you think is going to add value, get value from it. If you ever need us for anything, please feel free to email. We're the questions, we're accessible. The questions you send us, we're not going to try to send you anything. We're not going to sell you anything. We're not going to stick you in our database so that we can start blasting with the email. We'll just answer your questions, and then if you want to talk, we're happy to do it. But at the end of the day, we want to ask the questions. For 25 years, I've known Rob Mudd. The one thing we've always shared is that an educated dealer is our very best customer, and what we want to do is educate as much as we can about this changing. And it's changing at light speed now, car business. So as much as we can educate, and hey, look, if you don't feel like it's educational, if you've got a different opinion, hey, we want to hear those too. Yeah, we're 100% about talking about it.
Okay, let's
land the plane.
Let's land this plane.
Plane's landed. We're shutting her down. Yeah. Thanks again for listening and watching. We'll see you next time.
We'll keep them coming back, retain and gain. And we're bringing them in, retain and gain. From CRM smarts to AI brains, the Retain and Gain podcast. It's the name of the game. We're shifting gears to AI overdrive. We'll talk it up and we're breaking it down. The Retain and Gain podcast. Retain and Gain. 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 We'll keep them coming back, retain and gain.